Hey, United fans! Here's your latest Manchester United update from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's big reveal. To the latest transfer rumors and injury news after that impressive 3-0 win over Leicester. Stay tuned. Man United owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe announces reason he would walk away from club. Manchester United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe has revealed he will walk away from the club if he receives the same level of abuse as the Glazer family. Ratcliffe has taken charge of football operations since buying a stake in the club, and the 72-year-old has implemented a raft of cost-cutting measures that have drawn criticism. These include significant ticket price hikes and hundreds of job cuts, while Ratcliffe has also claimed several players are not good enough and overpaid. Although the Ineos chief says he doesn't mind being unpopular, he has claimed he will quit United if things go too far. "I can put up with it for a while," he said in an interview with The Times. "I don't mind being unpopular because I get that nobody likes seeing Manchester United down where they are, and nobody likes the decisions we're having to make. If I draw a bit of the ire, I can put up with that. But I'm no different to the average person. It's not nice, particularly for friends and family. So, eventually, if it reached the extent that the Glazer family have been abused, then I'd have to say, look, enough's enough, guys, let somebody else do this. They can't really come to a match, the Glazers. They've retreated into the shadows a bit now, so I'm getting all the stick. We bought in and I haven't seen them since. Thank you, Jim. You're doing a really good job. I don't have security, I don't have to walk around like that. But it would defeat the object, wouldn't it? You couldn't tolerate it at that level, it just wouldn't be fun." Ratcliffe also defended the Glazers, insisting they are the nicest people on the planet, but trusted the wrong people in key roles. "To be fair to the Glazers, they're really good on the commercial side," Ratcliffe explained. "The people who advise me say the fans don't want to hear it. So I've got to be cautious. I get a lot of criticism if I support the Glazers, but the fact is they're really decent people. They're East Coast, that old East Coast America, they're very polite, they're very civilized, they're the nicest people on the planet. I mean, there isn't a bad bone in Joel Glazer's body. I mean, part of the problem is there isn't a bad bone in his body, which is why he didn't bloody. I wouldn't have tolerated Ed Woodward or Richard Arnold. Richard was a rugby man, he didn't even understand football. Ed didn't have the credentials to manage the club. He was a merchant banker and accountant. He wasn't the chief executive." 5 biggest winners from Manchester United 3-0 victory versus Leicester. Manchester United enter the international break with 2 successive wins after beating Real Sociedad and Leicester City. Manchester United picked up a much-needed Premier League win by defeating Leicester City for the 4th time this season. There were a number of impressive performances from Manchester United players during the 3-0 away victory over Leicester City. 2 goal-scoring droughts came to an end, with the only downside being the injury to Aiden Heaven, who was stretchered off. We picked out our 5 biggest winners from the victory. Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United have scored 7 goals in the past 2 games, and Bruno Fernandes has been involved in every single one of them. Fernandes has helped himself to 4 goals and 3 assists in the wins against Leicester and Real Sociedad. He is the main man at Manchester United right now. For the season, Fernandes has 16 goals and 16 assists. It is a phenomenal record, and he is not slowing down. Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund opened the scoring for Manchester United in the first half, scoring his first goal since the start of December. The last time Højlund scored in the Premier League was back in October. It was vital he finally ended this drought. Now he can hopefully score a couple more on international duty with Denmark and continue to build up his confidence. Alejandro Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho was another player experiencing a really tough goalless streak, with his last strike for the club coming at the end of November. After seeing a goal disallowed in the second half, he did not let it affect him, and scored one that did count. Garnacho is now on 9 goals for the season, with Højlund behind him on 8 goals. Harry Amas. On his 18th birthday, Harry Amas came off the bench to make his long-awaited Manchester United debut. Amas became the 253rd Manchester United Academy graduate, adding his name to an illustrious list. He came on in the 69th minute and had 30 touches during his time on the pitch, looking comfortable and helping United to see out the victory. Andre Onana. After speculation he could miss the game through illness, Andre Onana was absolutely fine to play and gave United what they needed. This was a routine game for Andre Onana and a clean sheet, something he has not been able to shout about recently. The clean sheet was United's first in all competitions since FCSB at the end of January, when Altay Bayındır started. Onana's last clean sheet came in the game before that, Manchester United's 1-0 away victory over Fulham on January 26. Manchester United wonderkid Harry Amas made his Manchester United debut in the win over Leicester City. Harry Amas came off the bench during the second half against Leicester City to make his Manchester United debut. Amas made United's bench in April 2024 for the first time under Erik ten Hag. Reward for superb performances for the under-18s. Ahmad, Heaven, Yoro Manchester United injury news and return dates after Leicester City win. Manchester United beat Leicester City 3-0 in the Premier League on Sunday, but it came at a cost as young defender Aiden Heaven was taken off on a stretcher early in the second half. Heaven was involved in a tangle with Leicester forward Patson Daka and was clearly in a lot of pain as he went down. Ruben Amorim is already without senior centre-backs Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, Lenny Yoro and Johnny Evans, though the international break should allow some players time to recover and be in contention for a return. United's next game sees them face Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. Here's a look at the injury latest and the players who could be fit for the clash with Forest. Altay Bayındır. Injury unknown. Ahead of the draw with Everton on February 22nd, Amorim said Bayındır was making a recovery. He has not issued an update on him since, and he has not been spotted in training. Possible return date unknown. Tom Heaton. Injury unknown. Heaton has also been absent recently. Speaking last month, Amorim said, Tom is making a recovery. Again, I don't have a day, but Heaton and Bayındır are recovering. Possible return date unknown. Harry Maguire. Injury unknown. Maguire was taken off ahead of extra time in the FA Cup clash with Fulham on March 2nd. Speaking after the win over Sociedad last week, Amorim said, Harry Maguire we tried not to risk. We will see for Sunday. Possible return date April 1st. Nottingham Forest A. Lenny Yoro. Injury unknown. Yoro was forced off at halftime against Arsenal after requiring treatment during the first half. Amorim confirmed Yoro would miss the games against Sociedad and Leicester, but is hopeful he could return for the clash with Forest. No, Yoro's absence is not long-term, he said. Lenny cannot play this game versus Sociedad, and the other game versus Leicester. Possible return date April 1st. Nottingham Forest A. Lisandro Martinez. Injury anterior cruciate ligament, ACL. Martinez ruptured his ACL in United's 2-0 defeat to Crystal Palace on February 2nd. He underwent surgery last month. United have not put a time frame on how long he will be out for, but he will not play again this season. Possible return date August. Johnny Evans. Injury. Muscle Evans was last in the matchday squad when United lost 2-0 to Wolves on Boxing Day. He last made an appearance when United lost 4-3 to Spurs in the Carabao Cup on December 19th. Possible return date unknown. Aiden Heaven. Injury unknown. Heaven was involved in a tangle with Leicester forward Patson Daka early in the second half and required extensive attention from United and Leicester medical personnel before he was carried off on a stretcher. Amorim said Heaven was unable to speak after he suffered the potentially serious injury, and an update has yet to be given. Possible return date unknown. Luke Shaw. Injury, muscle. Shaw has been absent since the beginning. United latest Man United transfer news live. United in race for Osimhen. Red Devils dealt Major Kwenda blow. Wonderkid linked. Manchester United are braced for a monumental summer transfer window, with Ruben Amorim expected to overhaul the squad with incomings players and exits. But Giovanni Kwenda will not be coming to Old Trafford to join his former boss after Chelsea agreed a deal worth up to £41.9 million for the Sporting wingback. Elsewhere, the Red Devils are said to be amongst the clubs interested in a summer move for Victor Osimhen. In other news, Man United are reportedly keeping tabs on Lille teenager Ayub Bouadi. Rafinha bid. Man United have reportedly tabled a bid for Barcelona's Rafinha. According to Fishages, the Red Devils have left an offer of around £59 million on the table for the 29-year-old winger. The Brazilian has enjoyed a stellar season under Hansi Flick, scoring 13 goals and registering 9 assists in 26 games. However, the story adds the Catalans may be willing to sell their asset in the summer. Ratcliffe axes deal with Spurs. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos have paid millions to end a sponsorship deal with Tottenham. The Manchester United co-owners Petrochemicals Company penned a 5-year contract with Spurs back in 2022. Ineos had been Tottenham's official 4x4 vehicle partner, while their logo was also splashed across the dugouts and screens at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as part of the deal. Conversations over bringing the sponsorship to an early end began last month. And according to the Mail, an agreement has since been amicably reached. The team's improving. Bruno Fernandes feels that United are heading in the right direction. He continued, "Yeah, I think we can feel that. Against Arsenal, we were a little more deep as they didn't have much up front in terms of pace. Against Sociedad, we played very well on the ball, we were very brave. You can see some progress, but this progress needs to go on and on." Fernandes on criticism. Bruno Fernandes has responded to criticism about him, in particular, from one football pundit. When asked about his critics, he said, "I know you mean Roy Keane. Huge respect for him. He was one of the best captains here. He won everything. I try to be an example in everything I do. Not everyone will like it, and I respect everyone's opinion. I accept there is a lot of margin for improvement in my game, even in my life." Amorim reveals Heaven's pain. Aiden Heaven was left unable to explain how he's feeling after his horror injury at Leicester. His manager Ruben Amorim offered an update on his injury. He said, "We will see next week. It's hard to understand because even when he's on the ground, he can't speak. He doesn't know how to explain what he's feeling because he's so young. It's hard to understand what he's feeling." United match report. United saw off Leicester City with a 3-0 away win. However, their win was marred by a serious injury to youngster Aiden Heaven.